If I get another parking ticket, just throw my car in the bin. Throw it in the bin, take it away. I don't want it anymore because everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I'm just getting tickets left, right and centre. I'm so over it. Like, I'm parking outside my house, I'm getting tickets. I've appealed every single one of them. They've rejected it all. I literally go down the same road every single day to take my kids to school. I went down the road. Apparently, you can't go down the road anymore. It's for only bicycles and motorcycles. When did it change? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing it? I'm so over it. Like, just throw my car in the bin at this point.
Yes, my great British people, have a look at this now, yeah? Everywhere you go in London, this is what's happening to the roads. All the little side roads have been blocked off. All the little filter lanes, roads, to cut out the traffic are being blocked off. Why? No great explanation. Roads that used to filter out the traffic and you can take that road to sort of like, cut out the traffic and, let the traffic move more freely. All these little roads have been blocked off. The British motorists have been hijacked. We've been robbed. Yeah, we've been held at ransom. So your car insurance has gone up. Yeah, your road tax gone up. And then at the same time, there's no road to drive on. Yeah, make that make sense to me, people. Why? Why is this happening? These are things that we need to talk about. Peace.
So let's talk about John Paul Ross, the Green Party candidate here in Preston East. Now, on the surface, John seems like a nice enough bloke, but let's get real about what he actually stands for. John wants 20-mile-an-hour speed limits rolled out across Preston East, even in areas with no record of accidents or danger, just because it fits his agenda. He's happy to see your council tax go up to fund cycle lanes that barely get used, because he cycles to work, and John thinks that you should too. John wants to invest your pension funds into so-called green projects, risky, unproven schemes, while pensioners are struggling to heat their homes. He's pushing for more bus zones that cause traffic chaos, for wind farms and solar panels across our countryside, and guess what? He's all in on net zero, the same madness that's driving up your energy bills while foreign companies get rich. He opposes new roads. He wants to see fewer cars, higher fuel costs, more restrictions, and if you ask him who pays for all of this, he doesn't have a clue. And let's not forget, he supports open borders and refuses to call out the illegal immigration crisis that's putting pressure on housing, schools and services here in Preston. That's not common sense. That's not what this area needs. I'm standing to bring things back to reality, with safer streets, low taxes, real answers, not eco-fantasies. If you want a cycle lane, fine, but don't force everyone else to pay for your hobby. If you want clean air, great, but let's do it without crippling working families. It's time we stopped pandering to these fringe ideas and started putting our communities first. Vote Reform UK on the 1st of May and let's bring back common sense.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but he's at it again. Sadiq Peanut Brain Khan. Oh, you're not going to like this. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. He's scrapping the congestion charge discount for locals who don't have an electric car. Well, that's all good and well if you can afford a feckin' electric car, because they're not cheap. So bang goes your congestion discount charge for the locals if they don't have an electric car. And on top of that, like, that's not a kick in the teeth enough. He's increasing the congestion charge from £15 a day to £18 a day. Bloody marvellous. How is this man still mayor? That's what I'd like to know. And surely, given that London is the capital city of England, surely we should have a right to vote the mayor in. Should we not? That shouldn't just be a London vote, because of course the problem with that is he's getting the Muslim vote. That's people keep saying how's he still in position? Well, we know why. It's the Muslim vote. But I can't believe that that vote doesn't go out further afield, because it's the capital. It's the capital. We should all get a vote. But yeah, he's on a mission to just piss people off, and he's doing a fucking good job of it. So yeah, bad luck to anyone living in London or visiting London. He's robbing you blind.
Mr. Starmer, do you hate the British? Well, are you systematically destroying this country? Have you sold the UK to BlackRock and Co? Do you plan to drag the UK into a war so you can cancel elections? Do you plan to put people in jail for having a different opinion? And finally, do you have a thing for Ukrainian male models? Honestly, the state of the UK at the moment is absolutely atrocious. I mean, the government organisation Prevent saying that the actual problem in the UK are British patriots is absolutely beyond a joke. If you cannot be proud of your country and be worried about what's happening to it, they want to silence you. They don't want you talking in pubs. They don't want you communicating. And they like to label everybody as racist, and now they want to say that you're something else. How is that even possible in 2025? Keir Starmer's going down a very, very dark path.
The government steals money from the people and spends it on things that we don't need, all with one aim in mind, and that is to keep you poor, to keep you on the rat race. Why? Why do they want you in the rat race? So you can keep paying tax to make them money, to make the billionaires richer. So the question is, if you look at a lot of my videos, you will see that the people of Britain are ready for revolution. They're ready to fight back. But the question is, what do you do? How do you give power back to the people? The first thing to understand is how the government takes power away from you. And that comes with psychological manipulation. From young, we are constantly bombarded with the idea that we should be obedient little people, worker drones, worker ants, to do nothing other than pay tax. That's what we're here for. We're here to keep an economic machine moving, to keep other people in power. That's it. So the first thing to do to take our power back is to understand that we, the people, have the power. But the first thing you have to do is change your perspective on who you are and what is possible, and start creating wealth for yourself. Instead of spending all your time and energy creating wealth for other people, it's to create wealth for yourself. Now, if you want to come and see us in Facebook, click the link in the bio and come and join the People's Parliament, where we're talking about how to create wealth in your life.
Do you think MPs should be getting this pay rise, just yes or no?
As an average of everybody else's, that was what was deemed acceptable. What are you on,
I'm asking
Jubes?
you, yes
what are you
or
on?
no?
What are you on, Jubes?
MP should not be getting another pay rise. The country is literally suffering so much right now. Yes, an independent body is the people who decide if MPs get a pay rise, but the government can actually refuse to accept it, and they've chosen not to, and this is what is so frustrating. This would have been the perfect opportunity for Labour to turn around and do something very easy and quite populist, right, and say that there's no way that MPs are going to get another pay rise while the rest of the country is suffering, while we're making cuts, while things are getting cut back, while services are going down, while we're taking money away from poor people. Labour had such an easy decision to make, and they keep saying that, oh, this is done by an independent watchdog. You know for a fact that you can decline the pay rise. There is no reason why MPs should be getting a pay rise consistently every single year. It shouldn't be attached to inflation. It shouldn't be attached to any other measures. MPs should not be allowed to get a pay rise bigger than the average public sector worker. How about that? How about that for an average? That's the way it should work. Last week, we've literally got Rachel Reeves, the government, Bridget Phillipson, cutting disability benefits, changing the system so less people can have access to it. Tomorrow, we've got Rachel Reeves and her spring statement. We have no idea what's coming. Some people are saying it's going to be another 10, 20, 30 billion pounds worth of cuts. But Keir Starmer and the government couldn't turn around and say no, we're not getting a pay rise.
The stupidest thing that people say when you criticise this government is, ooh, at I'd like to see you do a better job. Like, that's not the point, is it? These people were elected and are paid very well to do the job, and therefore should do the job. Like, if I went to McDonald's and ordered a burger and you handed me 2 buns with a big, fat, hot, steaming turd in between, I'd be quite within my rights to say that is not acceptable. You couldn't then turn around to me and say, ooh, I'd like to see you make a better burger. I'd like, mate, you've shat in me Big Mac. All right. Ooh, I'd like to see you do a better job. I reckon I could do a better job. I reckon everyone watching this video could do a better job. I reckon my nan could do a better job than this government, and she's been dead since 2007.
Okay, so welcome back to an interesting episode on how the government is having your pants down and shafting you from behind. Okay, so you're going to love this one. You really, you're going to love this one. So guess what? The government has spent £9.6 million of your money, no one else's, yours, on a new security door at Westminster Palace. And apparently, 2 years on, it still doesn't work. What is it, this front door? Is it made of gold? They need staff on around the clock to press a button to try and get it to open when people come in. You can't make it up, can you? How does it work? So someone comes in and goes, right, yeah, no front door, that's going to cost you £9.6 million. What do they do? Just go, yeah, no worries, yeah, get it done, try and fit it tomorrow. Right, we've got a load of taxpayers' money here. What we're going to do now is, let's just waste it all. You'd at least haggle. You'd at least say, look, 10 million's a little bit too much for a front door. Let's go with 5. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why do we put up with this shit? Why?
The biggest problem we have with the UK government right now is the fact that people are making careers out of becoming MPs. MPs historically were actually authoritative figures that worked for the public. Now, these MPs are working for themselves and making decisions depending on how well that decision will be for their career.
So the news is in that Moorland School in Clitheroe has closed. A heartbreaking letter from the headmaster, Mr. Jonathan Harrison, who says, "This has been the hardest decision of my life and one that I have tried very hard to avoid." He talks about the impact that this is having on the pupils. And let's remember, this is not happening at the end of the academic year. The school has announced today it is closing tomorrow. So for all of the students who were due to take GCSEs and A-levels this summer, their school is closing tomorrow. Can you imagine the disruption? And I don't want to hear a word from anyone about this school was going to close anyway, because I give you the word from the man that ran it himself. The impact on our pupils, their families and the staff has been a major consideration and has made the decision much harder. Sadly, though, the school must live within its economic means, and despite our best efforts, the external factors that the school and their wider independent sector face have proven too strong. The number of independent schools facing closure nationally since the government's imposition of VAT on fees now totals 16 known schools during 2025. Despite our best efforts, our senior school has been operating below where it should have been for budgetary purposes. Compounding factors have taken their toll, such as deteriorating affordability, falling numbers for full fee-paying parents, higher operating costs, VAT on school fees, the added cost of employers' national insurance announced in the budget, and ultimately owed fees that remain uncollected. We have explored every possible alternative, including parenting, partnering with other schools, but no viable option has been found. So do not tell me this is not down to the government, because it lies entirely at your door, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves. Keir Starmer, you wouldn't let your son's revision be impacted by your own general election. Yet these students have had no say and they have no opportunity to save their school. You and your actions have taken it away. You protected your own son. I tell you what, Keir Starmer, I tell you now, you get your mate Lord Ali on the phone and you fund that school to get them through their GCSEs and A-levels. It is the moral thing to do. It is the right thing to do. It is the compassionate thing to do. You were able to show compassion to your own son. Show it to all of these students. You are a disgrace. Rachel Reeves, you make me sick. And I don't say that lightly. You had a choice. You had a choice not to bring this in now. You had a choice to bring this in September 2025. And don't tell me that the VAT policy is earning more than you thought it was. How do you know? Show me the figures. Have you collected that VAT yet? No. It is lies. It is all lies. This is down to you and your sister wanting to get rid of private education. Well, you are wholly responsible for the absolute disruption and devastation of tens of thousands of children across this country. And right now, you are wholly responsible for the poor outcome of these kids' GCSEs and A-levels. My God, I hope they pass them all. And I hope they take positions in government. And I hope they take you down.
I want people's thoughts on this because I think this is so weird. The school system, like for example, when you go from year 7 to year 11, it's never changed. Like they teach you the same stuff, which is crazy to me because the world has advanced so much, so quickly, but the school system literally never changes. Personally, I think it's because they don't want us to know about money and how money works. So they program us from such a young age to be employees forever. Yeah, you can learn about business and stuff, and you're learning how to run a business from somebody that never actually has had a business. Don't even start me on that one. But do you understand what I'm saying? I want people's opinions on this because this is what I think. And this is why so many people think online income and things like that are too good to be true, because from such a young age you've been programmed to only believe that there's one way of making money, but there's not.
Just had a brilliant conversation with a head teacher just about what's going on in UK schools at the moment, and it's kind of the same story at pretty much every school I go to at the moment. She said the government gave them 200k less this year than they did last year funding, so they can't really afford TAs. And what I can see is the SENCO is through the roof. The amount of children who can't sit still, who can't focus, who kind of have additional needs which just aren't being met. And the head basically said, well, there's a 3-year waiting list for the government, for them to kind of get assessed. So basically you've got a whole system where, because they're not being assessed, they can't give extra support or extra funding. So basically the poor teachers have kids spinning around, running around, trying to teach 30 other children with no money. Most teachers are saying to me at the moment, I'm buying pens, I'm buying paper, I'm buying all the resources out of my own pocket. And as we know, they're not exactly paid that well. So the teachers are doing an awesome job, but they're just firefighting at the moment. So yeah, every school saying, oh, we're 50, 60, 70, 80k in deficit this year, got no money. And basically, yeah, they're in pretty bad way. They said the sports premium is kind of still ring fenced, but they're not giving any kind of measure whether it's going to be next year or not, or whether it's going to be cut. So they're not spending any money, which obviously is fine, but it just means that the kids aren't getting the best education. They're not getting all the things that they can need and the support they can really get.
3 reasons the UK education system is a complete and utter fail. The first reason is chronic underfunding and massive budget cuts. The UK used to have one of the best education systems in the world, one of the most funded at least. Since 2010, the government have promised budget increases for schools across England specifically, and what has happened? Nada. Whilst little government grants have been given out here and there, since 2010, basically nothing has been done. All they've done is recommend shows like Adolescence, which have no relevance to UK life. And what's their reasoning for this? Inflation. That's it. That's all they come to. The shortages in UK classrooms have gotten so bad that literally affording stationery, basic standard equipment, paper, pens, rulers has become a problem for most schools, especially those that are public. There are much larger class sizes now and a lot less one-to-one personalised teaching, which is probably a much more effective way than teaching 100 kids in one classroom. This has massively increased Teacher burnout and the amount of resignations that are taking place get more and more every single year. Which means for those teachers that haven't resigned, that are on really low incomes, they have to account for those losses, for those understaffing issues. Extracurricular activities like drama and physical activity have seen massive declines amongst schools in recent years in terms of participation and funding from the government. And every single day since 2010, the funding has been lower than prior to 2010. That is insane. 2 is an over-reliance on standardized testing, just tests essentially. If you put a monkey, an elephant and a crocodile in the same room and tell them to climb a tree, which one do you think will do it quicker and which one do you think will look like they have the best results? Think about it. In the UK, we are all tested in the exact same way. And like I said before, there's not really any specialized learning anymore, meaning that everybody's taking the same test with completely different skill sets. I can tell you right now that GCSE and A-level were the 2 worst periods of my life, and I never felt so uncomfortable. Not only are you getting tested completely unfairly, it's the environment, the conditions that you are put in order to prepare and both take these tests. And the way these schools make it feel like is that it's do or die. You literally have no choice, and if you don't make it, if you don't get something out of this, then you are basically unlucky and can't make a career out of it. Obviously that's not true because of a thing like social media. But you are made to think that it is the most important thing that's ever happened to you in your life, and for some it may be, but for most it definitely is not. And in the UK, we wonder why so many children, so many teenagers have increased stress, depression levels, and so many other issues. But it's really coming down to things like this. Non-academic skills are completely undervalued. If you have academia, then you have everything. If you don't have the academia, then you don't even know your own worth because they never address this to you. So flawed and so silly. Motivation, morale, discipline amongst young people has never been lower than it has right now in the UK. 3 is inequality and regional disparities that completely determine how well you're going to do in school. Specifically in Wales and the north of England, the funding is absolutely minimal, especially in these rural communities. They are getting basically no education, and the education they're getting is basically directing them towards a path they're not choosing. They don't get options. You are told to do this, you are from this community, you have to do this, and you don't have much say in it. After all, the opportunities are limited when you live in these communities. The north of England has a huge disparity between there and the south. And if you're not born in London, if you're not born in Manchester or some major city, you basically have your career chosen for you, or you have limited options. And private schools completely dominate the pathway towards university. If you want to get into university coming from a public school, you have to do something exceptional to get in, which is not fair because talent is everywhere. The students have less access to quality education and they don't even realise their full potentials. What a terrible school system we have, and it's incredibly unfair depending on where you're born, which it shouldn't be. Those are 3 reasons why the UK school system is an absolute joke and absolutely finished.
The educational system in the UK is broken. I mean, most of you will already be aware that the educational system in the UK was primarily designed to create industry workers, okay? And very little has actually changed since then. If anything, things seem to be going backwards. Like, what is this about paying to get kids out of school during term time, huh? Never mind that though, let's focus on what they're actually teaching kids over there, yeah? And let me tell you this, schools are probably the worst place for new negative self-limiting beliefs developing in kids. Having been on a major healing journey, I've identified a lot of my issues, a lot of my self-limiting beliefs stem from my school days. And I know nothing's changed. If anything, things have gotten worse. But listen, sitting here twining about it ain't gonna solve anything. I really highly doubt that anything's gonna change much when it comes to the educational system, no matter how much we harp on. However, this is where we as individuals hold all the power. Because all we have to change is ourselves, our mindset. This is about learning outside of school. This is about continuously developing skills, being creative, because we are all creative beings. However, school seems to be suppressing that. And don't get me started about this whole palaver of going to university and that being required. University is probably the biggest scam I have ever seen in my whole entire life. So unless you specifically need it to carry out the job that you're doing, and let's face it, it's mostly just medicine, then you're probably wasting your time and money. Because I've actually seen a client show me a statement of their student loan where the interest that they were being charged on that student loan was more than the repayments they were making. And this person was on good income. But anyways, I digress again with complaining. So what I'm saying here is, let's change ourselves, okay? Let's learn. Let's see the world from a different perspective, and let's change the narrative as a collective. Because that is the only way we can bring change about.